Thanks for joining us for our special coverage tonight. We're helping you get through the aftermath of Hurricane Irma.
That's right. We know it's been a very long week. We know you have a lot of questions, and we want to get you some answers.
Yeah, that's right. We want to hear from you. Find us on Facebook. Just search 10 News WTSP. What questions do you have? We know that you have a lot of them right now after this hurricane. Just let us know what you want to know. What do you need help with? We've set up a helpline for you. Here's the number on the screen right behind you, 727-577-8289. You can call that number with any of those questions. We have a help desk ready to answer those questions for you. Now, one question we're getting a lot of right off the bat, I'll tell you, I've been getting a lot of questions about which stores are open, where you can find a hot meal. Obviously, people need to eat some food that's not that processed stuff. So if you're out and see a place that's open, share it on social media with the hashtag #OpenNow, and I'll add it to my list. You can also find that at WTSP.com. But let me get to the important stuff. Grocery stores, right? This is where we really need to find what we need to find. Most, but not all, Publix locations were closed today, but I did reach out to Publix, and they told us that they're planning on opening their stores tomorrow. I also reached out to Walmart, to Target, and to Winn-Dixie. They have not gotten back to me yet, but I'm going to continue working on that so we can get you that information so that you can use it and find out when you can actually visit those stores. Finally, here's what Amazon told us. They said that their Tampa area facilities have temporary closed operations, and customers in the area should expect delays in receiving their Amazon orders while damage to local infrastructure is fully assessed. They said, we are continuing to check in with employees to confirm their well-being and safety, and our facilities have been minimally impacted by the storm. So that's just a few updates there. I'm going to continue updating you throughout the newscast on what is still open, and we're going to use that hashtag #OpenNow on Twitter, where you can find out a little bit more about where you can go.
Yeah, and Alex, that was one of the big questions we have been getting from you, from our viewers. Where can you get something to eat? Some of the other big questions we're going to help you out with tonight. When will your power come back on? And where can you get gas? That's a big one. We're going to address all of those for you tonight.
Check it out. In the parking lot of Derby Lane in St. Petersburg, a small army of cherry pickers and power pole trucks rolled into town tonight to help the tens of thousands of you in our area still without electricity. Many of you listening to us on the radio right now or on Facebook. Close to 300 trucks are already here, and there will be twice as many tomorrow. Workers from as far away as California, Quebec, Canada, Denver, and New York have arrived to restore power to the Bay Area. Downed trees, they say, are the biggest issue, and they are asking people to please be patient.
And Katie, we have gotten so many comments on social media from people who are talking about it's been 24 hours. I still don't have electricity.
It's hot.
It's hot.
Yeah.
I can't cook. There's so many things that need to be done.
Very uncomfortable, and that is why we have an outage desk, and Ryan Bass is there manning it for us. Ryan?
More like an outage screen, I guess, guys,
there
if you
go.
will here. Yes, look, we're kind of manning everything. We're kind of trying to get you guys as up to date as we can on how many power outages there are in the area and how quickly you will see power back in your area. Now, this is just some estimates here we have. This is from the Tampa Electric Company, TECO here. They're estimating about 311,000 customers right now just in their area are without power. We're seeing anywhere from 400,000 people that are without power across our entire area. You can kind of see the red areas here. A number of people in Hillsborough County still dealing without power here. This number will continue to decrease as the night goes on. Katie was showing you some of those crews that are out here in the Tampa Bay area. I was actually driving in here on Gandy. I saw a bunch of power crews kind of driving right by me trying to get you guys power. When we look at the current outages here in Duke Energy, as you can see kind of in our area, these red areas here mean 20,000 or more of you are without power in our area. And you can see the Pinellas County area all the way over to our Polk County areas, up towards Lando Lake, Zephyr Hills, and even our Brooksville and Bushnell areas dealing with some power outages as well. I know this number certainly up in the hundreds of thousands as well, trying to get those numbers down for you as well. Power hopefully will be restored in your area as soon as possible. Guys, I'll keep you updated on these latest numbers here at our outage desk or outage wall, if you will.
Ryan, thanks so much. Other numbers people are very interested in. Rainfall numbers.
Rainfall totals, of course. And, really, we've been getting so many of those questions. And the person to ask, of course, Bobby Deskins.
Hey, guys. Well, normally when we have a hurricane headed our way, You generally say, what is the speed of the hurricane, how big is the hurricane, and that kind of tells you how much rainfall you can expect. And on order, we'd say about 6 to 12 inches of rain. That's a time lapse of the rainfall accumulation. Less rain on the west coast, more rain on the east coast, because we tend to see more rain to the east of the center. How much rain? Well, especially down here where it made landfall, right there around Marco Island and just to the east, you can see 9, 10, a couple spots had a little less than that, but generally between 8 and 10 inches of rainfall in those areas. And then about 9 inches you get over just southwest of West Palm Beach. Now in our area, we only had about 2 to 4 inches in some places right along the coast, but you get to eastern Hillsborough County and you get to just about that 6-inch range, all the way over to almost 13 inches of rainfall near Fort Pierce, where they kept seeing these trains of rain come in. Now, as you can imagine, this water's got to go somewhere, and it's going to drain into our rivers. So most of our rivers have flood warnings right now, and most of those will crest over the next 24 to 48 hours, which I think most of them late tomorrow afternoon and evening hours, if not Wednesday morning. And coming up, I'm going to show you exactly what the timing will be on most of those, and you're going to see that even though we only saw about 3 to 5 inches, the Anclote River, I think, is going to have some major issues. It could be one of the top 5 or maybe top 6 floods that we've seen. And you remember 2 years ago in 2015 when we had 46 inches of rainfall there and the flooding. I think, guys, we're going to see something similar to that. I'll have the details coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Bobby, thank you. One major side effect of all the power outages and the problems that we saw in this area, the effect on road safety. And as 10 Investigates, Noah Pransky tells us tonight from Pinellas County, it's got one police department calling for National Guard help, as well as delaying in when kids return to school.
Tampa Bay did such a great job preparing for Hurricane Irma, but you just can't prepare for some things. And Pinellas County is experiencing right now a quick return of traffic back into town while we're dealing with an extended outage of traffic lights. It's created a crisis that's involved a dozen police agencies, the sheriff's office, and the school board. Now, I'm on 4th Street in St. Pete, one of the dozens of intersections without traffic lights and with multiple officers patrolling overnight. Only 10 News was there earlier this evening when all the heads of these big agencies had a conference call together to assess the situation.
My biggest fear is someone blowing an intersection and T-boning someone's family.
St. Pete Police Chief Anthony Holloway has had to staff hundreds of officers at more than 50 major intersections across St. Pete because without them, drivers don't treat these signals as four-way stops as they should.
People are coming back into the city, and we're starting to see people just blow past the intersections without paying attention. We haven't had any major accidents yet, but they're going to happen.
And with these officers coming off 24-hour hurricane shifts, he has to ask them to go back out and work more 12-hour shifts to maintain order on the roads. Agencies across Pinellas County have done the same.
We don't have enough resources to help us man the intersection because we also still have to handle calls for service when people are calling us.
So Holloway's led the charge to ask the state for more resources, potentially even the National Guard for assistance. He's also asked the Pinellas superintendent to delay the reopening of school. The district has now called off classes through Wednesday, with Thursday and Friday in jeopardy too. Duke Energy has not been able to tell St. Pete how long it'll be before power is restored to intersection.
We're going to go day by day because if we got to worry about these major intersections, we want to make sure our kids are safe going to and from school. And if we can't protect those intersections, we can't protect our kids.
The biggest corridors with problems in St. Pete include 4th Street, 16th Street, 34th Street, and 49th Street, but this is a county-wide problem, which is why both law enforcement and the school district will be making it a top priority in the ensuing days. Noah Pransky in St. Pete, 10 News.
All right, so you may already know what to do when you come to a traffic light that's out, but we want to make sure that everyone around you who's sharing the roads with you, that they also understand how to treat it like a four-way stop. All right, so under Florida law, that means the driver of the first car to stop at the intersection gets to proceed through the intersection first. If you and someone else get to the intersection at the same time, you are supposed to give the right of way to the car on the right. So if there's someone to the right, you need to let them go first and then go across. Florida Highway Patrol troopers say you should think of it like this. It's pretty simple. The first to stop is the first to go. Alex. Actually, you know what? Check this out. This is an interesting view. We've got a view from the sky at some of the damage done by Irma across Tampa. It's a good perspective, right, Katie? You can see this from above and get a good visual.
Yeah, you know, we were driving around here late last night. I guess it was really early today. The days kind of blend together since we've been doing this wall-to-wall coverage. And, you know, when you're driving up on these things at night, they look completely different. So that aerial perspective really gives you, look at that, really gives you an idea of what Mother Nature can do. Just the strength of those gusts.
Of course, and that's it, the gusts. When you see that, you can just imagine how the wind was able to pull that red tarp or, you know, apron up.
That tree. See
Oh
that
yeah,
tree
look
right
at that
there?
tree, yeah.
And this is why, you know, some of you are probably wondering why your neighbor has power and you don't. You're
This
looking at
happens
it
a lot, doesn't it?
right there, exactly.
coverage?
And we've
Why?
had a lot of frustrated calls and posts on Facebook and on Twitter about this because people are saying, you know, I don't understand. It seems like I should have my power back on too. Well, look at this.
Look at that roof.
That roof is gone. Yeah, they're going
I
to have
think
to
that
redo
person who shows up and they've got to call the insurance adjuster and try and figure that one out.
And it's been raining in there too, so
Of
it's going to
course.
be wet. A lot of people, you know, going through a lot of suffering. We've been talking about how fortunate we were, but we have to remember that a lot of our viewers were not fortunate.
Oh no, of course not. And then of course the surprise when you do show up at home, you're finally thinking I can rest.
Yeah.
And you see that. It's tough.
That's
it really is.
not fun coming out of a shelter to that. All right, before it hit the Bay Area, Hurricane Irma roared through the Florida Keys. Take a look at this. It made landfall as a Category 4 storm, as Bobby told you, and tossed boats around like they were rag dolls, sinking them at their docks and even throwing some of them onto land. Irma also damaged homes and businesses, flooded roads and neighborhoods, making it so difficult for people to return to their homes today, if not completely impossible, particularly in the Keys. Governor Rick Scott flew over the islands early today with a Coast Guard damage assessment team, but the full extent of the destruction, look at that stuff, will not be known for days or maybe even weeks, Carolina. It seems like probably more like weeks. All right, even though the final track of the eye took it nowhere near Miami, look at this. That city was not spared from the wrath of
I mean,
Irma.
look at the cranes. We talked about that.
So dangerous. The winds were strong enough to snap not one, but 2 tower cranes that were working on high-rises throughout the city. We warned people about these before the storm came.
Because there's little they could do ahead of the storm, really.
What are you going to do
Right.
except stay away, right? A 3rd crane was damaged in Fort Lauderdale. Like in the Keys, Irma sank boats and threw others, look at that one, onto land. Some of the city's most famous tourist areas, just devastating. Looking more like rivers and swimming pools and just dirty.
Look at that
everywhere.
water gushing.
Yeah, just awful. All right, after hitting the Keys, Miami, Naples, and Fort Myers, Irma then passed over us in the Tampa Bay area. Then as it moved north, it hit Orlando, and it hit Orlando pretty hard. That's where many people had actually gone to try to get away from the storm after they left the coastal areas, which makes sense, but they got it there too.
You see that hopscotch effect sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, you run from the storm, but the storm follows you. So, you know, this is what happens. Some of the hotels and the buildings around Orlando and the rest of the Orange County suffered significant damage.
Right, Orange County's mayor also said, you know, significant power throughout that area. But looking forward, of the people we saw out today, if they weren't looking for a place to find a meal to fill up, was the other real issue that a lot of people dealt with today, trying to fill up their cars. And it was slim pickings. 10 News reporter Josh Shadorowitz is finding out how long it could take before you'll be able to easily find gas again.
You know, this racetrack here on Gandy and St. Pete, usually an easy spot for our 10 News crews to fill up, but tonight it's looking an awful lot like most of the other stations do in town. And of the few places that we did find pumping petrol today, they were packed.
You would have thought it was liquid gold.
Helping hands with getting gas.
The end of the storm bringing the start of the rush to get back to normal, and for many, that meant gassing up.
Glad to get the gas. Real happy to get the gas.
This mobile station on Hillsborough in North Central and Tampa, an oasis for some.
I got less than a quarter, just over an 8, but
Okay.
I'm just really glad to be here.
A welcome relief for others.
When you say you needed gas badly, how badly?
Badly, like 0 miles.
But the feeling, fleeting for just as many too, with police officers trying to keep the peace.
You gotta go around the line, man.
Tensions tightened as supplies quickly disappeared. GasBuddy.com analyst Pat DeHaan says more than half of the stations in Tampa Bay, that's roughly 1,200, are out of fuel. That means filling up will be filled with challenges for at least another day or two. DeHaan says the key is getting our ports back open so we can get fuel deliveries again. Today, more than 24 tanker trucks just like this pulled out of the port with fuel shipments. Port officials say with minimum damage done, they expect the U.S. Coast Guard will reopen Port Tampa Bay as soon as Wednesday afternoon to allow more shipments in. DeHaan expects it would take about another day after that for supplies to finally get back to normal. But until then,
we got to come together. This is the time we got to stay together, time of need. We all in a crisis right now.
something to think about. Gas Buddy also says we could face even bigger issues if a lot of the people who evacuated try to rush to get back into town tomorrow and inevitably need more gas. So bottom line, storm might be over, but if you can, it might be best for at least the next day or two to sit put. Don't drive if you don't have to until things are expected to get back to normal here by the mid to end of this week. I'm Josh Horowitz, 10 News.
Now that a lot of the storm is over, a lot of you are asking, what now? You have lots of questions, and we want to help answer them. On Facebook, we asked what you wanted to know. So all throughout Nightside, we're going to try our best to get those answers for you throughout the night.
All right, so I want to start with this question. It comes to us from both Alexi Garland from Hillsborough and Renee Medina from Manatee County. They want to know, is it safe to use tap water? Really good question, right, Katie?
It is.
Ladies, it really depends on where you live. I know it's a tough answer, but listen, water has to be restored to the city of Venice, but customers are still under a boil water advisory for at least the next 2 days. Now, as for Polk County, precautionary boil water notice, that's for families living in the Lake Garfield Estates on the south side of Highway 60. That affects about 100 people.
Yeah.
Hernando County, a boil water notice is in effect for the entire area east of I-75 due to a water main break from a downed tree. An announcement will be posted when the boil water notice is rescinded, and people living in Pinellas and Pasco County, those residents, could limit their water use. So if you have a question, head over to our Facebook page, 10 News WTSP. Wasn't sure.
Oh, good. Oh, cool. Awesome.
Oh, esa es la tuya, sorry. We want to get right to the important things that you need to know to plan the rest of your week. I know it was a long weekend, so let's look forward
Yeah,
here.
not much of a weekend, really.
No, not at all. So schools, very important. Hillsborough County schools closed through Wednesday. Then you have Pinellas and Shorecrest Prep closed through Wednesday as well. Hernando closed through Friday. Sarasota closed through Tuesday. Manatee closed, well, until Tuesday. But again, remember, a lot of these things can change. So you have to keep listening to, our updates, as well as Pasco and Polk County schools. Well, they plan to open Monday.
Yeah, and a lot of that is dependent on schools that are being used as shelters
Absolutely.
right now, getting those people out and back home. All right, here's some important numbers that you're going to want to jot down. The first one is the Florida Emergency Operations Center. It's 1-800-342-3557. The second number is for FEMA, 1-800-621-3362. And then this one, very important one, the Florida Insurance Claim Hotline. A lot of you are going to need this
So
one.
helpful.
1-800-227-8676. Airports. Tampa International, still closed. St. Pete Clearwater, it opens Tuesday, but I went on their website and they said the flights don't begin until Wednesday. Sarasota Bradenton International Airport opened tonight, so that is a good sign.
In Polk County, Irma toppled trees and flooded streets. As many of you slept, the eye of that storm moved right over that area, knocking power off for thousands of people.
We heard from people right as it was happening. 10 News reporter Grady Trimble spent the day driving all over Lakeland and taking a look at the damage.
Driving through these neighborhoods in Lakeland gives you an idea of just how widespread the power outages are. Areas that would normally be well lit at night are still dark. People in Lakeland didn't wait to clean up after the storm. Irma ripped the carport straight off this mobile home and left debris scattered throughout the park.
When I first got here, I did sit down and cry for a few minutes, but I'm very blessed. A lot of people in my neighborhood have a lot worse.
None of them have power. Neither do 80% of people in Polk County. Lakeland electric crews are scrambling to fix lines after the worst hit to its power grid in its 113-year history. Unfortunately, waiting for it to come back on is all customers can do.
Everything underwater.
In other areas of Lakeland, downed trees aren't the main concern. This mobile home park flooded along with nearby roads.
You know, so I was ready for it. I was prepared for it.
People in this flood-prone area want better drainage, but for now, all they can do is wait for the water to recede.
I saw the line and I was like, wow, this is something else.
More waiting at this Taco Bell on South Florida Avenue. One of the only restaurants open, the line ran out the door, and it took hours to get food.
I stepped inside for about probably 2 seconds, and then I was like, this is crazy, man. I just want a taco.
Other stores like Publix plan to open tomorrow, so the wait for food will soon be over. The storm moved through quickly, but it's still forcing people here to practice patience.
Obviously, a lot of trees like this one fell during this storm. While there could be days, weeks, and possibly months of cleanup left, many people who live in this area tell me they're just happy Irma didn't do more damage. In Lakeland, Grady Trimble, 10 News.
You know, Bobby, so many of those restaurants saying that they will stay open until they run out of food. All right, so let's take a look at this video. It's from Tybee Island, Georgia. Look at those flooded streets, Bobby.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, when I'm watching this, look at the car going through, which we should not do.
Absolutely.
Right,
yeah,
you don't know what's there, but it gives you at least an idea of how deep that water is when you look at a truck like that going through the water.
They had a major storm surge issued over there. Remember how big the storm was? It had tropical storm force winds extending out 220 miles east of the center, and in fact, it may have been longer than that. That is a large area of wind blowing over the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, for a long time, because that was even happening east of Florida, and that was pushing water up towards them. And then as the center got a little bit closer, it's pushing that water right up into Jacksonville and up into Georgia. And so Jacksonville's seeing record flooding. They haven't seen storm surge like this in some places.
And I think of the people from this area who tried to go to Georgia, and now, you know, you see that as well. But
it was a tricky forecast.
It was.
I mean, Saturday we were thinking, you know, we could have almost a worst case scenario coming up and hitting us right here. And thank goodness it made that turn right there. That's what spared us from more damage than what we already saw. I mean, it could be a whole lot worse. It could be like Naples. It could be like Marco if it had to come up a little bit sooner. There it is now, guys. It's in Georgia. The 8 p.m. advisory has 45-mile-per-hour winds. We'll get that 11 o'clock advisory coming up here in just a little bit. North to northwest winds, north to northwest movement, at 16 miles per hour. And the pressure's up about 986, and that's continuing. It should continue to rise as this weekends. It's just northwest of Albany, Georgia now, and you can see that the heaviest rain is up to the north of it, but still some pretty good bands in Georgia and South Carolina. Tornado threat there earlier today. It's slowly diminishing for the Carolinas, but it's still there. They're going to have to watch it. Watch the forecast track on this. It will go slowly to the northwest, and this is tomorrow night, Wednesday morning, Wednesday night as it falls apart. Wind is not an issue for them. Wind is what did the damage here. It's not an issue for them because the storm is a whole lot weaker. It's been going over land. That's what spared us, again, from what we saw. Now, we don't have any more tropical storm warnings. They didn't let the tropical storm warnings expire until this afternoon. Same thing with storm surge warnings. But everything has expired now. The orange area in Georgia and parts of Alabama, even into South Carolina there, that is a tropical storm warning for those areas. But again, nothing for us, so we are quieting things down. Now, rainfall. It will continue to douse parts of Georgia, especially North Georgia, South Carolina, and up into parts of North Carolina, especially Charlotte to the north and the west. Nothing terrible, but they will have some minor flooding in some areas. Now, local winds have come down throughout the day. How about this map, guys? 7, 9, 10, 6 mile per hour winds. Calm after the storm. It was really calm before the storm. That was kind of the eerie thing. We're thinking, oh man, this might come towards us, because it was 2, 3, 4 days before it. It was just so calm. Look at the state. Miami enjoying 9 mile per hour winds, 7 in West Palm Beach. Still a little gusty to get up towards Panama City and Pensacola, but wind was not going to be an issue for us the next couple of days at all. Look at some of these gusts. Beverly Hills and Citrus County, 64 mile per hour. Tampa International had 67. Sarasota had 70. Hernando County Airport had 64. 82 in Eagle Lake. That's in Polk County, and Bartow had 73. Now, I wanted to show you these because These numbers are all at buoys, basically, and they're going to be higher. However, the ones along the coast like Anna Maria Island, Bel Air, and West Tarpon Springs, 92 mile per hour gusts, 88 mile per hour gusts, 81 mile per hour gusts. That was out of the northwest, and that was blowing on the beaches. That was blowing into Tarpon Springs. That was blowing into Clearwater. We had 91 mile per hour wind gusts at Fort DeSoto yesterday. So yeah, that's the deal. We had a lot of wind out of the northeast for the Bay Area, but more of it coming in from the back. Now we have some showers now, just a few light showers, Hernando into Pasco County, and we'll keep a few light sprinkles, but that's it. These move fast, a little bit of a breeze as they come through. This is the back side, the circulation, if you will, of the system, but it's not anything we have to worry about. And in fact, I don't think we see much of those as we get into tomorrow as well. So we're all cleaning up. We will see a few low clouds coming by, more sunshine for tomorrow. At least it's comfortable temperature-wise. We're in the mid-70s right now. And here's the forecast for tonight and into tomorrow. We'll start in the upper 70s. We'll end up in the, mid-80s for daytime highs. And you see a lot of sunshine around, and we'll keep that onshore flow. So it will be bumpy. If you're trying to move boats around, that type of thing, we will have a couple of breezes out there, but you should be able to do it if you're inshore. There's the forecast for you Tuesday. Start in the 70s, go to about 87 degrees. Rain chances about 10 to 20%. It would be a quick sprinkle if we do see it. Real fast, I've got to show you this. That's Irma. That right there is Jose. And a lot of folks have been talking about it. I don't think it's an issue for us. It's a strong storm with 100 mile per hour winds, and it's looping around out there, and that looks scary. But look at the extended forecast models. This is Saturday evening, right? There's Florida. Watch the models I put them on here. It looks like it wants to keep curving and heading out to sea. That's right, Katie. So hopefully it will do that. I'm going to be watching that very closely for you. I'm not concerned about that right now, so don't you be concerned about it. I think we're going to be okay with it. But I'll track it for you. Getting warmer Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. In fact, rain chances Thursday, Friday, and Saturday coming back up to around 40 to 50% each afternoon.
Bobby, thank you. Sad to see that go as far as Georgia. 2 people in Georgia died. Just such a sad event for them. All right, we want to go to our outage board. We've got Ryan Bass manning that. Very important information for those of you without power.
Went from an outage desk to an outage board. I like that, Katie. I just want to make you guys aware. We are on top of Duke and TECO and FPL trying to get a gauge on restoration. Right now, they aren't clear on when things are going to get restored. We are continually asking them for that information, so I just want to let you guys know that we are on top of that for you. We do have accurate numbers coming in here just about 1027 here. These are the latest power outage numbers that I have for you. Duke Citrus, 25K are out of power right now. Duke and Hernando, about 8,500 of you are out power right now. Duke and Hillsborough, only 23 of 24 available customers out of power right now. Duke and Pasco, 84,000 of you still without power. In Pinellas, over 415,000 of you, and then in Duke Polk County, 61,000. As far as TECO is concerned, 57.2% of their customers are now without power. This number, we continue to see a drop. Last time when we visited with you, it was about 312,000. We are now down to 310,212 of you without power. I just kind of want to show you guys because, again, we're looking for those restoration estimates. Duke Energy is posted on here. Look, no need to report outages. We know we're working as quickly as possible. Tampa Electric as well, saying they're working throughout the night. And one photo I want to point out to you that our Bobby Lewis posted here just a couple of hours ago. These are all the trucks at Derby Lane right here. This is 1/3 of the trucks that you will see around the area as far as early as this morning that are going to be going around and trying to fix power in the Tampa Bay area. So we're working on it for you. We'll try to continue to get those restoration numbers, and we'll update you on the current numbers as they come in. Guys?
Just those pictures make you feel better, Ryan. All right, we are still taking your questions on our Facebook page. We've never stopped, and we're going to try our best to answer each and every one of those. Here's a question from Amanda Sales. She's one of the thousands of people who've had to evacuate to other states. Now she wants to know, can she come back home? Great question. Well, we can't say for sure when it's safe for everyone to go home. Obviously, the damage varies from place to place. Some areas are still flooded, trees are down, and emergency crews are, of course, responding to their backlog of calls. So if you don't need to be out on the road, they would appreciate if you could limit your driving, at least for now. Just limit your travel. If you want to know the specifics about your area, you can call the Florida Emergency Operations Center. Write this number down, 1-800-342-3557. Our neighbors in Orlando saw some of the worst damage from Hurricane Irma. Adriana Diaz shows you how first responders jumped into action to save people from the rising water.
Before sunrise, people atop rescue trucks thanked those who carried them to safety out of the floodwaters. Barefoot children in blankets escaped waist-deep water with their only belongings in plastic bags. This puppy was found caged and alone in a house filling with water. Woo! Carlin Gillens cheered at the sight of first responders at his door.
My mom and my dad, but I don't think they're coming.
A fire and rescue team tried to convince his parents to leave.
It's not safe to stay here. We can take you guys to a shelter.
The answer was no, so crews marked the house as having 3 people still inside.
I left because I know we needed food. I know we needed lights. It started getting hot in there. I was hoping I convinced my mother to leave once I left.
He tried again by phone.
People say once the electricity come back on, it's gonna be a hazard for y'all.
Afterward, we checked in on Carlin's mother.
You think he jumped ship?
Yes, he did, but it's okay. Because he was in the panic mode. He needed to leave.
Inside, family photos hung above floodwaters. But Annie Hemingway says she still felt more comfortable at home.
I've been here all my life. But this is the worst.
As residents started returning, the abandoned puppy had its own homecoming. The owner said he'd left the dog with family members. 149 people were rescued from Orange County here. And just to give you a sense of the carnage, our crew was sitting under this structure when we were reporting live on Sunday. And look at it now. Adriana Diaz, CBS News, Orlando.
Sometimes it's so hard to convince people to leave.
Yeah, I think that's the hardest thing as a journalist, is going to one of those places and meeting a woman like that, you know, and just knowing that her entire world has just changed. And oftentimes it's so unfair, but the people who can least afford or least be capable of handling the damage are the ones who get it the worst. So we need to help them.
Absolutely. I'll send over to Alex.
Well, we know that, at this point in time, a lot of you are probably itching to get out of your houses. You want to maybe just get some food that's not what you already have stuffed in your kitchen somewhere, the non-perishables. So we've had this hashtag on Twitter, Open Now. We want you to use it. Share what you know that is open right now that other people can go and benefit from. So I know it's, past 10 o'clock, so we want to get you what's actually open right now. Here are just a few things that we want to share with you. So number one, Jenny said the Domino's at 4115 West Kennedy Boulevard in Tampa, that's open. The Wingstop is open on Fowler Avenue in Tampa, Florida as well. And hey, there's a Burger King on the corner of Hillsborough and Sheldon Road. And earlier today, Bobby Lewis was there when some people found some grub near USF.
It was worth the wait, if you didn't mind waiting.
About 20 minutes.
I would say like an hour and 20 minutes already.
We were waiting for 2 hours. Crazy for chicken, man.
Man, I wait 10 days for some chicken. You know I love chicken.
This is not exactly fast food.
I mean, you got to understand, we are the only one open. At least we are here to serve you.
That's what I'm saying. You guys are helping people out, right?
Yes, sir.
This fast food spot wasn't exactly fast.
We don't care anymore. We have 2 kids and we got to give them something.
But it did hit the spot. How important is it for restaurants and businesses like this to open up for you guys immediately after the storm? Is it?
Very important, because if people don't have no lights and they have young kids, it's hard, it's rough.
Irma knocked out the power for most of these folks' homes. The fact that this Church's Chicken in Tampa opened around lunchtime.
This is a blessing, sir.
Consistently all afternoon, Church's Chicken has been about 30 or 40 people deep trying to get into the restaurant for some food. People lined up here in the McDonald's parking lot on Fletcher Avenue 2 hours before the place even opened at 4 o'clock just to get French fries and a cheeseburger. But they really wanted a break from Irma, some peace of mind, and a break from the storm that fried their senses.
Hopefully they won't run out of chicken by the time they get to me. That's one of the main things.
We hope.
Yeah, we hope.
I was thinking about McDonald's all yesterday. I'm finna go and get me a number 3 with extra cheese.
Have people been giving you thank yous and high fives at the window?
Yeah, they've been giving me tips too.
In Tampa, I'm Bobby Lewis, 10 News.
Oh, well, if you're out and see a place that's open, share it on social media with the hashtag OpenNow, and I'll add it to my list. You can also find that at WTSP.com.
Sometimes, Alex, that'll make you feel back to normal, huh? Getting that burger. All right. So before marching north to us, Hurricane Irma hit Miami, turning streets into what looked like rivers and bringing down fences and trees. And you've probably seen the pictures and videos of those cranes snapping like twigs from Irma's massive winds. Joining us live now from Miami is CBS's Kenneth Craig. Now, Kenneth, we talked to you several times leading up to this storm making landfall. What has changed the most?
Well, it was amazing to drive around Miami today and just see how much damage was left behind by the storm. We were hunkered down in a hotel about 20 minutes inland in Doral during the storm, and we were riding it out, and there were some pretty serious winds up to 70, 80, 90 miles an hour, and there was a lot of rain. But when we left, we thought, wow, maybe it wasn't as bad as we thought it was going to be, until we quickly recognized that it was much different. Driving around town today, trees down all over the place, and the closer you got to the coast, the more severe it became. Right now, we are standing in a park in Coconut Grove, and if you look behind me, this boat was plucked from the bay, thrown here into this park. There's actually another sailboat behind that. There's another one down here. It's hard to show you these things because there's no power here in Miami, and so this entire area is in the dark. There is a marina up the road where boats that are still hanging on are capsized or completely underwater. There's a bar up the street that was destroyed, and really nothing is opened around here. So a lot of cleanup ahead, weeks and weeks and weeks for some people.
Kenneth, for the most part, is it still looking like a ghost town, or are you seeing people showing up to either look or try and find their homes and their cars and so forth?
It looks like a ghost town that people are trying to take back. We were looking for dinner tonight and some gas. We were driving around up and down US 1 and through the Grove and into downtown Miami, and nothing is open. Nothing at all. There are a few places, I shouldn't say nothing, but 99% of places are closed down. There was a bar up the street that was open. Went in there to get some food. Turns out there is no food. They were just pouring some beer for the folks inside there. Gas station with no electricity, so folks were buying up the remaining granola bars and sodas and that kind of thing inside, but really not a whole lot open. And so many places don't have electricity. Behind our camera here, a bunch of high-rises, a bunch of condos, some hotels, and it's just pitch black. I can't see anything, and that's because none of these buildings have electricity. It seems like people were getting really anxious and tons of cabin fever, and the sun came out today, so we saw a lot of people out and about, but there's really nowhere to go. I went into a grocery store earlier, tried to go into a grocery store that was open, thinking, wow, we might be able to get some food and get some water and that kind of thing, and there was an hour-long wait just to get inside.
All right, Kenneth Craig in Miami, I hope you can find those supplies. Thank you very much for that report. I have another question here from Pat Pauley in Hillsborough County. He sent this one to us on Facebook. He wants to know, what's the plan for garbage pickup? That's a big one. I'm sure a lot of you have that same question as we start to clean up the debris. I've got some good news and some bad news. So the bad news is you are responsible for the cleanup and the damage. The good news, the county will haul it away once you clean it up and put the trash in your bins. We have a list of all the neighborhoods and when they will restart garbage and recycling pickup on our website, WTSP.com, and you can find that on the 10 News app.
All right, we want to check in with Ryan Bass on the outage board.
I feel like this is my playbook over here, guys.
Right.
I just kind of want to give you an idea. Sorry.
Perfect for you.
And people are dying to know this. They really want to know what's going on.
Yes,
so you're good.
They do. So let me give you guys the updated numbers here. Now, Duke Energy's site has been crashing all day. Go figure. Power outages, we're having an outage on their own site. So I can't give you those updated numbers as they stand right now, but I can tell you TECO's numbers continue to drop. Last one we visited with you is about 310,000. We're down to almost 3,000 here in TECO in Hillsborough County. These numbers continue to drop. Guys, if you're without power, I promise you, these crews all over the place trying to get you guys your power restored. As they tweeted out, I showed you this just a few minutes ago, working throughout the night shift, crews will continually be out there trying to restore power. This photo I showed you earlier, I wanted to blow it up a little bit. This is one that Bobby Lewis, one of my coworkers here, posted on Twitter. This is the trucks at Tampa Bay Downs, where you can kind of see all these trucks. So this is just 1/3 of what we're going to see here as we get into those overnight hours. More and more of these trucks are going to be popping around the area. Sarasota, Manatee counties, we didn't forget about you guys. FP&L, their site as well, having some troubles as well. But as you could see, them tweeting here to the Sarasota Sheriff, they are in the Sarasota area. They are restoring power to homes along Edmondson Road in Venice, guys. So those numbers starting to drop. We will continue to update you as they come in. Back to you guys.
A lot of people using those websites, really waiting to see what the update is. All right, so people on Bradenton Beach were anxiously waiting most of the day for the bridges to open so they could get back into their homes.
Yeah, Nightside reporter Nina DeSaro shows you what it was like as they checked out the damage and how things changed once the sun set.
It took until 3 p.m. before cars were able to go across the Cortez Bridge into the beaches near Bradenton. That's because crews were out cleaning up debris and down power lines, making it safe for cars to drive over.
It's one of the prices for living in paradise. Traffic and this.
Right.
We'll handle it.
And like clockwork, just a few minutes before 3, the long line of cars slowly made their way across the Cortez Bridge to their homes to assess the damage.
We didn't expect to come back to good at all, so I don't think anybody did. I mean, look at everybody, what they've suffered, so we didn't expect good. But you know what? Somebody up there is looking out after everybody, so.
And it wasn't as bad as anticipated. Many business owners have plans to open back up tomorrow.
I closed the 3 days, and Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Tomorrow in 4 o'clock it's open.
But with businesses hoping to open back up tomorrow, neighbors in this beach community are in for a very long night without power. As you can see, without our camera light, it's completely pitch dark. Vehicle lights are the only things illuminating these roads. And because of the lack of power, many are opting to stay in hotels. No word yet on when the electricity will be back up and running for this community. In Holmes Beach, I'm Nina DeSaro, 10 News.
Before Hurricane Irma moved over Florida, it decimated parts of the Caribbean. Take a look at this. This is a bird's eye view of the path of destruction in St. Martin. Irma trapped some 5,000 U.S. citizens on that island. The State Department says evacuations continued today. Cuba is also beginning what will be a very long cleanup process from the storm. Irma pummeled the island as a Category 5 hurricane, packing 160-mile-per-hour winds. Water was pushed nearly 1/3 of a mile inland, flooding and destroying many neighborhoods there. At least 35 people were killed in the Caribbean as a result of this storm. 10 of those deaths were in Cuba. There are a lot of videos going around showing what happened during Hurricane Irma and, of course, after the storm passed through Florida. Take a look at this one. A yacht. How would you like it for that to be your yacht? Scraping up against a bridge. This is on the way to Paso Beach in Pinellas County. Video from our partners at the Tampa Bay Times. What a beautiful boat to get stuck that way. Can you imagine, Carolina?
No, I can't.
Oh, my goodness.
The insurance.
Well, we've got more Miami-Dade damage. Look at that tree. Massive trees down. Traffic is an absolute nightmare in Miami right now, in part because of all of this debris. And, you know, look at that.
Boat.
That's a tennis court with a boat in it. I mean, the scenes like this, it's just unbelievable. Wow. All of those boats submerged underwater, and, you know, this goes on for miles and miles. Look how far away. I mean, that is what those winds can do. Pick up a boat and just throw it like a football. Just amazing. Those cars, you know, trying to get around there. It's incredibly dangerous, too. I mean, because you don't know where the person next to you is going to go to get around that debris. You know, you might get...
Oh, here we go.
This guy, yeah. This is why we tell you turn around, don't drown. This is in Georgia. This isn't even in Florida. As Bobby was saying, you know, they really got walloped by this storm. and 2 people died as a result. We're still waiting for more details on the second death that was announced, I know, unfortunately, this afternoon. Just so much destruction and death, and it could have been much, much worse. All right, let's check in with Alex once again.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of you are still looking for that gas. It's obviously not very easy to come by so far, and again, we're using that hashtag on Twitter, Open Now, and you guys are really taking this away. It's great. So Raymond says Wawa's is open with gas in Port Orange off exit 256. By the way, with Wawa's, you can actually go to their website and they have a list of the stations that are open, the stations that have fuel, so that's a great tool for you to use. Somebody else is letting us know about a Shell station across from Gaither High School. That's in Tampa. That's open as well with fuel. For the people who want some food, Tara's pointing at a McDonald's on Cortez Road near Goodwill in Bradenton. And also there's another one on 301 in Gibsonton. And finally, if you want that Burger King and Taco Bell, there's 2 across from each other, and they are open on Waters and Hanley. Now, if you're out and see a place that you want to share, just put it on social media. Use that hashtag OpenNow, and I'll add it to my list. You can also find that at WTSP.com.
You've got a thing, and there's you open that thing up. There's like everything. Yes. What?
Oh.
We are just beginning to recover after Irma, and we're getting a lot of questions about our first responders.
Yeah, Nightside reporter Mark Rivera has been in the field all day. He's been all over the area seeing this damage the hurricane brought to Tampa Bay and to most of the state.
So, Mark, this recovery effort is going to cost billions of dollars. So how exactly will our local and county leaders be able to pay for this?
Yeah, this is really for your peace of mind, folks. Regardless of what you might hear about FEMA money being short, about gridlock in Washington, first responders in your community will be paid, and they will be doing their job, helping you until the job is done. Part of the reason that that is possible is because Florida was granted a major disaster declaration before Irma even hit. That means for the next month, all counties in the state will be reimbursed by the feds for emergency protective measures, fire, police, emergency operations center costs, evacuation costs, running the shelters, getting huge trees and downed power lines out of the way, and direct financial aid for you if you need it because of the storm. Just today, the entire congressional delegation from Florida, all 29 congressmen, women, and our senators have asked FEMA to review your claims as quickly as they can. To make a claim, you can go over to disasterassistance.gov, type in your address, and then you can see this. Hurricane Irma is listed as a disaster there, declared, and you can start making your claim. But first, we want to tell you, start with your insurance company. FEMA funds are not there to supplant insurance, and they could take years to pay out. Mark Rivera, 10 News. Back to you, Bob.
Thank you very much, Mark. We talked about rainfall earlier and how I said it was heaviest east of the track. There's the track that Irma took. And look how light, or how much lighter, the rain was on the west side versus over on the east side. Now, we saw enough that's going to cause some issues with the rivers. And the Anclote River is going to crest at about 25.4 feet. And that's going to happen tomorrow afternoon into the evening hours. And that's going to be very similar to what we saw last year or the year before, too, both summers before. But in 2015, we had 25.25 feet. So that's going to be a seriously flooding situation. It's called a major flood zone there. Highest crest in 5 years, all-time highest, is actually 26.8 in 2012. It will crest Tuesday afternoon. It will slowly come down Tuesday night and Wednesday, but it will still be well above the flood stage for several days. Now, that's not the only river as well. Let's go to the Manatee River at Myakka Head. That's cresting at 18.67 feet. It actually was there just yesterday. It's on its way down. It's at 17.45 now. It's subsiding, but I'm going to keep an eye on that because sometimes they surge back up a little bit. But that's the latest forecast from the Weather Service. And the Myakka River, it too is going to crest. It looks like about 11.3 feet, and that won't happen until Wednesday afternoon, and then slowly start to come down as we get into Wednesday night and Thursday.
Bobby, thank you. People in Sarasota were hit so hard by Hurricane Irma.
Lots of high winds there. Nightside reporter Isabel Mascareñas shows you why it might take a while to get businesses there back open.
If you're here in Sarasota County, they haven't given the all clear yet. See, emergency crews are still checking out the damage. The #1 challenge has been the domino effect from power outages. Power that's essential for operating important resources like gas stations. Hurricane Irma's winds knocked down power lines, cutting power to 175,000 FPL customers in Sarasota. That's 60% of the county. So far, power has been restored to 7,000 people and businesses. FPL crews are in town, but there's no timeline for when power will come back. No power means no traffic lights. 153 of 233 traffic signals are out or blinking, making driving a hazard, especially at night. Emergency officials say treat these intersections as four-way stops. Better yet, try not to be on the road. The same wind that's keeping many homes in the dark blew down large trees. When cleaning up, make sure to tie debris in 4-foot bundles and place on the curb for pickup. Neighbors and families are helping each other pick up the mess left behind by Irma.
Yes, especially I don't like my parents working so hard. They're in their 70s and they're out here working nonstop, so.
It's a job, but one they don't mind, considering Irma's original forecast.
It wasn't nearly as bad as I expected, so I was really thankful about that.
Businesses lucky enough to have power opened. Customers waited an hour and a half for a hot meal at Walk-In Chinese restaurant on Beneva Road.
And it's nice to be able to come to a place that's actually open and trying to help the community and feed them. And it's nice to have the AC.
There was a long line at this Chevron gas station off 17th and Lockwood Ridge Road. The gas is life-saving for some families.
It's extremely important. Keeping the generators running, keeping us fed, keeping us food good. We really need it right now.
And with days of cleanup ahead, this Ace hardware store on Bee Ridge that never lost power opened its doors.
Because it's for the community. I mean, that's what the neighborhood store is for, is to help out the community.
Besides power outages, there's been a lot of rainfall that's flooded roads, especially in the city of Northport. That's on the south end of Sarasota County. And with all that rain, more river flooding is on the way. Remember the Myakka River? We showed you when it spilled over its banks 2 weeks ago, flooding homes. Well, today the Sarasota County emergency officials have sent out a code red, alerting those same homeowners that another major flood is coming their way in 48 hours. In Sarasota County, Isabel Mascareñas, 10 News.
If you're like me and you have kids, you probably want to know when they're going to head back to school. I know my kids are cooped up. They want to see their friends. They want to see their teachers. A lot of our schools were being used as shelters during the storm, but we've learned Hillsborough County schools are planning on reopening on Thursday. Pinellas will be closed through Wednesday, but there are no immediate plans for the rest of the week. Sarasota County schools will be closed Tuesday, but they are still deciding what to do on Wednesday. Many counties are still figuring out their plans for next week. For a full list, go to our website, WTSP.com, and on our app, 10 News. Take a look at this video. This is Irma flooding around homes in Lake County. Really, this is like the thing that, you don't want to come home and see. Yeah. You can see those look like mobile homes there.
Modular homes and mobile homes. They really took it hard, and that area got just pounded last night. We had a lot of people in the Lakeland area telling us about the noises they were hearing. Sounded like a train. You always hear that one.
And you see this man already working to try to do some repairs so quickly.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff, you kind of wonder. I mean, people want to believe that they can just, repair it, but some of that stuff may not be safe. Right. So as you're going around, and doing this kind of thing, I mean, be careful. You don't know if there's down power lines. Exactly. Those trees, Bobby's talked a lot about the stress that's put on those trees and those winds. Those trees are weakened. So as you're working, just kind of, look up every once in a while and make sure that that you're not, in jeopardy while you're trying to fix your home.
We also have this time-lapse video, which I like to see of downtown Tampa, right? It gives you a perspective of the changes quickly over time.
Bobby Lewis did this, if I'm not mistaken, last night.
wonderful.
He was out with Eric Glasser. They had an unbelievable view of this storm. And look at those clouds. Wait till you see what happens later. It's almost unbelievable how many. I think, Bobby, wasn't it 7 that we saw that blew 7 transformers?
Yes, during your live shots, I remember.
So this is that shot that we were watching last night, and we were coming back to Eric quite a few times because there was so much activity where he was. And as it gets darker, you see the cloud activity, you see the rain, you see all that go by. But once it really got dark, you could see these blue things blowing up in the background, one after another after another. All right, we got to go to Alex Miranda.
Yes, so I've been monitoring that hashtag open now, and throughout the night I've been giving you some places that are open today. Obviously, it's a little bit late at night, so I've been giving you a little bit those McDonald's, the Burger Kings. Let me also give you some that are going to be open tomorrow that you can look forward to. So these are in St. Peter, just a couple examples. $5 Drinkery, that's at 247 Central Avenue. There's also Joey's, Brooklyn's famous pizzeria kitchen. That's at 210 First Avenue North. Zaytoon Grill is on 1618 Central Avenue. You also have the Gallery at 27 4th Street North. Now, a couple that are open in Tampa that you can look forward to tomorrow. Sushi Cafe, 18015 Highwoods Preserve Parkway. We've got, Elmer's Sports Cafe, 5206 South McDill Avenue, and Islands Pizza at 235 East Davis Boulevard. Again, continue using that hashtag open now. We're going to share those right here. You can also find that list on our website. Just again, use that hashtag open now, and I'll add it to that list.
We've been through a couple hurricanes before, but nothing like this experience.
I've never seen it empty like this before. I've seen it flooded plenty of times. I've never seen nothing like this.
I've been here all my life. But this is the worst.
It could be like way more worse than what we have today. We're very lucky.
Everybody lives, here around the neighborhood and community. Everyone's safe, so that's our prayers. That prayers was answered.
Thank you for joining us on Nightside. I'm Katie McCall.
And I'm Alex Miranda.
And I'm Carolina Leid. Nothing tells a story better than the images, Ken. So we had a helicopter fly over some of the damage that we saw in Tampa. Just take a look at what we're seeing from up above. It really gives you a perspective, right, Katie,
Yeah, that
of what we're
massive
seeing
tree.
in this area. Yeah, look at that massive tree.
A lot of trees down in the Hyde Park area. I was driving around there early this morning, checking out some of the damage, and a lot of the lights, as we saw earlier, are still not operational there. So be really careful as you're driving around because you come up on these pretty quickly.
So let's check in with Alex Miranda with an update.
Yeah, and now that that storm has passed, You all have a lot of questions, and it's our job to answer those questions for you. We're doing everything that we can to keep you informed. We have many ways of doing it. You can head to our Facebook page. Just search WTSP 10 News. You'll find us there. Ask us those questions on that page. We've also set up a hotline for you to ask all the questions that you need. That's what it is, 727-577-8289. Call that number now. Call that number after the show. We have people here that are waiting to answer those questions for you.
A lot of you have been asking us about this. That's the Tampa Bay, and it's not like, it's something like you haven't seen before. There's no water. It was like it just all disappeared. You can see people, they start walking out into where the water used to be. Just think about that. Look at that video. The tide was so low, 2 manatees became stranded in the sludge. Fortunately, there were people who were willing to help, and they were nearby.
Yeah, we were live on the air actually when this happened and talking with Bobby about this phenomenon, because a lot of people went out and took pictures of themselves because they thought it would look really cool. It's actually extremely dangerous. But this is kind of interesting when that water just pulls way out. You're not expecting that.
Yeah, well, actually, we were forecasting that because once we knew that it was going to go here and come up to the east of Tampa, we knew we were going to get that northeasterly wind. That's why it's so important where that center goes. Winds around a tropical system, a low pressure system in the northern hemisphere, go counterclockwise. The highest winds are closer to the center. You get less wind the further you go out. So what happened yesterday was as the system drifted off towards the north, we got northeasterly wind all day, especially in the afternoon, and that's when people were out there taking pictures. The wind, it's the opposite of a storm surge. The wind literally blew the water out of the bay. So it was blowing water out of the mouth of the bay, and that's why it was dry. Bayshore Boulevard's right there. That's where you were seeing the pictures in the video we were just showing you. And that was early in the afternoon when we had very steady, pretty heavy winds. But then last night, 9, 10, 11 o'clock, when that eye went over Polk County, the winds got even stronger. We don't have pics or video of it, but it probably got even drier. More water got pushed out. So we were not worried about surge at that particular time, but what we were worried about was on the back end of the storm. As the storm moved off to the north, because those winds are going around that center, they turn to the west and some west-southwest winds. That in turn pushes the water back up into the bay. So when we were talking about evacuation zone, we were talking about level A, level B, that kind of thing. With storm surge, we were thinking 5 to 8 feet of extra water would be pushed up into that same area where it was dry. It ended up being about 2 to 4 feet because the storm went to the east just a little bit, and by the time it had gotten to us, the winds were less overall. And that's one of the ways that we got lucky. Somewhat lucky, guys, as far as storm surge
absolutely
goes.
Yeah, we sure did. Thanks, Bobby. You're not feeling lucky if you're sitting at home right now and it's hot and you can't run your refrigerator or your AC.
And that's why we have Ryan Bassett, the outage board, to just give you an update on what we're looking at in this area.
Yeah, still a lot of people, guys, without power in the Tampa Bay region. Kind of want to give you a little bit of the update of numbers-wise what we're looking at. You got nearly 40% of people that have TECO power that are still without power in this area. The total number we're seeing right now that are still affected, 306,281, but that has significantly dropped since we joined you on the air just over an hour ago, guys. I do want to make this clear, too, as we kind of look at Duke Energy in the Pinellas County area. About 15,000 people, 15,600 still without power. This is from TECO, guys. 425,000 outages were recorded, customers that were affected from Hurricane Irma. And I want to make this clear. This is one note here. This is the largest restoration effort in U.S. history. That's from TECO, guys. Some really powerful stuff here as we hope power gets restored in your area pretty quickly.
Yeah,
absolutely. Hopefully.
ASAP.
Yes, I know they're working hard to do it. So the parking lot over at Derby Lane in St. Petersburg has been turned into a makeshift parking lot for our trucks and utility workers who have spent so much time in the Bay Area trying to get the power turned back on for you.
Yeah, those are just right around the corner from us. Nightside reporter Eric Glasser shows you how hundreds are about to mobilize to get the Bay Area back up and running.
Well, the cavalry has arrived. Look behind me and you can see more than 300 cherry picker trucks just like the one that we are in right now. They have come from all over to help restore power to the thousands of people still in the dark. In St. Petersburg, the parking lot at Derby Lane has been turned into what's called the Yard, a staging area for cherry pickers, tree trimmers, and heavy equipment delivering power poles and transformers. Crews arriving from as far away as Quebec, Canada, California, New York, Colorado, Indiana, and more.
They're brave.
And they obviously care about people or they wouldn't be coming this far to help.
By midday Tuesday, there will be twice as many trucks and volunteers here for what even they consider a major undertaking. This crew from the Ohio area specializes in clearing down trees, considered one of the biggest obstacles.
We go out and clear the lines so they can be put back up, whatever needs to be done.
Hurricane Irma's unpredictable path didn't help the response time. Hundreds of workers already staged in Tampa were told to head to Orlando to avoid the storm, which then hit hard there, too.
It was an experience to be outside in 60-mile-per-hour winds flying at you and gust of 100.
Regardless, they say it's time to get to work, knowing so many, scared and literally in the dark, are depending on them.
Heart goes out to them. Feel sorry for them. But we're here.
This out-of-town army of linemen will start hitting the streets at about 6 a.m. They'll have a 5 a.m. wake-up call, breakfast, then hop aboard buses to come to this area, fanning out across the Bay Area, wrapping up their day not until 9 p.m. when the sun goes down. 16-hour days aimed at getting the Bay Area back up and running. In St. Petersburg, Eric Lasser, 10 News.
I want to alert you of some more places that are going to be open tomorrow that you can look forward to in Pinellas County. Here, a couple of them right here on my phone. I've got Fat Cat Tavern that's opening at 3665 East Bay Drive. Also, O'Matty's Bar and Grill. That's located at 5405 Shore Boulevard, Gulfcourt. Jack Willie's Bar and Grill and Tiki. That's open at 1013 St. Petersburg Drive. You've got Red Lobster, too, if you're a Red Lobster fan, 26320 US 19 North, and The Burger Joint at 4058 Tampa Road. And again, if you are out, if you see a place that's open, please share it with us. We want to share it with everybody watching right now and online. Use that hashtag OpenNow, and I'll add it to my list. And you can find that list on WTSP.com.
I have a feeling a lot of people are going to be trying new places, for the first time because that's what's open.
Did you notice Alex smiling there? It's like he's hungry. I could see him.
I think he wants to go to Red Lobster. Maybe later, Alex. All right, electricity is still out all over the Bay Area. So a Bradenton brewery and food truck teamed up to serve their neighbors in need.
This is so cool.
Smart.
Allison Morrow is inside with how this outpouring of generosity meant so much to this community.
And we are at Three Keys Brewing with Jeff and Kathy Douglas, the owners. You're not just serving up beer here, you're serving up something else to help people out. What is that?
Yeah, so there's a lot of people who are out of power, who don't have electricity, don't have food that's spoiling, so we're actually giving away free water. We have 500 gallons of purified free water for brewing beer that we use. We also have free ice. If you need your phone charged, electronics charged, come down and charge it up. And we also have air conditioning if you don't have any power right now. So come on and get in that, and beer.
And beer. A lot of generosity inside. Take a look at who's serving up the food outside.
Double fries on one pork, yeah.
Food is more than a meal.
All right, here that is.
And no one knows that better than Jason McKinney, who says there are 2 ingredients that make their barbecue so special.
TLC and the J&J barbecue sauce.
Another 2 pulled pork?
The word spread by social media.
We know a lot of people were out of power, a lot of restaurants were closed.
All these people stuck eating whatever they remember to buy.
Skittles and peanut butter.
Together?
Yeah. Mix them together.
Okay.
Most without electricity all day.
So we were okay until this morning when we had all spoiled food and no new food.
Hold on them for a second.
J&J Barbecue figured, so they decided to do what they do best. But lest you think this is a business all about a buck.
Oh, man.
Remember, they survived this hurricane too.
I've been up for almost 3 days trying to get my house prepared, and this was a kind of a spur of the moment thing, so we really had like hours to prepare. So I'm drained. And last night was a rough one because of the wind, and it kept me up all night. So I'm pretty tired, but I can do it.
Jason and his sister Jessica.
Is that all for you?
Work for their dad, Johnny, and with brother Jerome. All J's, but like Jason said, it's really about the T, L, and C.
Whatever happens, it doesn't matter the outcome. It matters how you feel about it. So some things we can't help, like how the weather came on us. We couldn't help that. The only thing we can do is get prepared for it.
And prepared they were, not to help themselves, but to help others.
I don't know what I'm going to get.
All right, let's talk about it. They got pork and more pork and more pork. What do you think you're going to get?
Pork.
Great! Since 1979, J&J Barbecue has served Bradenton.
We're gonna add a fry.
Because they know better than most, food is not just a meal.
Pork, collard greens, and mac.
It's about the hope that comes with knowing someone, anyone, cares.
People gotta eat and they gotta have good food. I love to help people.
And great stuff with J&J Barbecue. They did give me my own J name, Janice, but back inside with Kathy and Jeff. Kathy, what's been your favorite part about this really difficult time for people?
I think a lot of it is just having a place for people to come to. Everybody's all stressed out. Everybody comes together. They're talking about what they're doing, beforehand to secure their place, and then what their needs are, now that the hurricane's gone. And, just giving everybody a place to go and forget about all that for a minute.
It's not just about the material stuff, but the community that's been getting people through this. We really appreciate everything you guys are doing. So anyway, Three Keys Brewing here in Bradenton. I'm Allison Morrow. Back to you.
It's been a long week. We know a lot of you are eager to get back to normal after preparing, waiting, and sitting through Hurricane Irma.
Yeah, and as the recovery gets underway, we have to pause to remember that 16 years ago today, hard to believe, our country was forever changed. It was September 11th, 2001, 16 years ago, that our nation came under attack by al-Qaeda, crashing planes into the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and taking down United Airlines Flight 93. People filled Ground Zero to recite the names of those who died and pay their respects to heroes and loved ones killed on that day.
Instead of, being extremely sad and remembering the tragedy that day, we kind of just remember her and how great she was.
At the White House, President Donald Trump led a moment of silence before traveling to a ceremony at the Pentagon. Vice President Mike Pence joined a tribute in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where he became choked up while honoring those killed on that United Airlines flight after brave passengers rushed into that cockpit, preventing the terrorists from hitting the Capitol.
I will always believe that I and many others in our nation's capital were able to go home that day because of the courage and selflessness of the heroes of Flight 93.
This weekend, crews broke ground on a 93-foot tower of Voices in Pennsylvania.
It has 40 tubular wind chimes, one for each Flight 93 victim. It's the last part of the National Memorial in Shanksville that should be completed for next year's annual remembrance.
We have some time-lapse video, I think, to show people. Okay, we're working on that, but first we're going to go check in with Bobby.
Thank you, guys. Let's talk about the weather. And there are the latest numbers for Tropical Depression Irma, with winds right now of 35 miles per hour. That's right, it's not even a storm anymore. It's down to a depression, and it is falling apart over western Georgia, moving into Alabama. You can see all that rain, though, is moving into northern Alabama and up into Tennessee. There's a look right there at the rest of the track. It's really going to fall apart, so the rain will be an issue, but not wind for them. We are watching South Carolina because they could still have a spin up or two, but the tornado threat seems to be waning at this particular point. The center itself near Columbus, Georgia, about 93 miles or so from Atlanta. Closer to home on the backside, we're basically looking at the winds coming down, and it's nice and, well, let's call it relatively calm. We still have about 5, 10 mile per hour winds for most of us, 13 miles per hour right now at Sarasota. So things, relatively speaking, are very, very quiet. Now, you can see across the state, we still have some gusty winds on the backside for Pensacola and Panama City, but even that's in the 20s. Jacksonville, this wind in Jacksonville is coming on shore, gusting to 28 miles per hour. That's a lot less than what they've had all day, so the surge issue will be coming down there. But they've had some record-breaking surges in parts of that area from that long fetch of wind coming in off the Atlantic Ocean. For us, we've got a couple little sprinkles trying to come in. Hernando County into Pasco County, Spring Hill, you get east of Spring Hill, east of 41 as well, too. There'll be a couple sprinkles there. Right through Hudson, and now you can see Newport Richey is going to see a sprinkle or two. That's it. There's not much, and this type of activity will go through the overnight hours, but literally that means rain chance is about 10 to 20%. So don't worry, even if you're outside still trying to clean up and get things done, we will be okay. Now, you can see Lakewood Ranch has a sprinkle here. It's moving through right now over I-75. Polk County, Hardy, DeSoto, even Highlands County, we are looking good, and we need to be so we can get things cleaned up. The bigger picture doesn't show much in the way of clouds either. These green spots are all rain. The clouds are just about there as well, too. There's not much more cloud cover, so we'll have more sunshine tomorrow, which means we'll get a little bit warmer. A very quiet Tampa International and a pretty quiet Mahaffey Theater view of downtown St. Pete, too. 77 degrees out there right now. Here's the local temperatures, and that's comfortable. 75 in Clearwater, Riverview, and Mulberry. Mayberry. Andy? Andy? 78 in Sarasota, 73 in Lakeland. You see all those reports that aren't showing up, and that's because the storm went by. We've got power issues. We may even have some equipment issues, and so they may show up like that the next several days. We're going to get them fixed for you. There's the forecast for tonight into tomorrow. That's 8:30 in the morning. Very quiet, partly cloudy skies. Still a little bit of a breeze, but nothing even like what we saw today. But we are looking at the next couple of days being in the mid-80s to upper 80s, and that rain chance Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, that's what's going to come up, and it's mainly afternoon and evening thunderstorms. So at least it's going to be a little bit on the quiet side for the next couple days.
75 degrees. Feels like Mayberry to me, Bobby. All right, we have a question from one of our viewers that might sound a little bit funny, so just bear with me. April McGrath is from Pinellas County, and she asked us, when can we flush our toilets? Now, she's asking that because if you listened to the Pinellas County press conference this afternoon, you would have heard the county administrator urge people to conserve water. He specifically said, don't flush your toilets, don't run a load of laundry or a load of dishes. That's because more than 100 pump stations lost power, which could cause sewer overflows, and we don't want those. So if you live in Pinellas, he's urging you not to put water into the drain so the system doesn't overflow. Good question. Keep sending us your questions on Facebook at 10 News WTSP. Our info center is working very hard to answer all of your questions. So there's a problem giving local law enforcement a very hard time right now after Irma. Traffic light outages. You've probably seen them. Drivers are not stopping at intersections where the lights are out, and in many cases, they're just speeding right through. So local police departments are having to direct traffic. And Nightside reporter Bianca Graulo learned this is straining their resources.
The St. Pete Police Department had already called its officers off those 12-hour emergency shifts. Because of this issue, they had to call them back in, and they're asking for reinforcement. And the thing is that they want their officers responding to your emergency calls, not directing traffic like the officers you see here at this intersection on 4th Street in St. Pete. I spoke to the St. Petersburg police chief. He says it's only a matter of time until we see a major accident, and he's mostly worried about traffic at night and the morning commute.
Our biggest problem is going to be tomorrow morning when everybody's getting up and it's time to go to work and everybody's going to be in a rush. You need to slow down. You need to pay attention. And that's why we have those officers out there at some of the major intersections. Not all the intersections, but the major intersections.
Pinellas County called off school on Wednesday after a request from law enforcement. The chief said he didn't feel confident they could guarantee kids' safety until power to traffic lights is restored. Now, I want to show you what the problem is here. I stood at the intersection of Gandy Boulevard and Breton Bay. Now, watch how this car slows down and makes a full stop. But cars coming after this driver, they don't. They blow right past him. Law enforcement want you to follow the example of that first driver. Chief Holloway says he's also worried about his officers directing traffic. The last thing he wants is to get a call that one of them got hit because of a driver not stopping at an intersection. So please keep that in mind as you drive around Tampa Bay in the next few days. In St. Pete, Bianca Graulo, 10 News.
There are some really good resources out there where you can just find out what's going on with the power outages in our area. And Ryan's monitoring that for you right now at our outage board.
Yeah, guys, I want to just give you a quick update. As far as TECO is concerned, they had 425,000 people without power when this storm hit. We're down to 300,000 now. So a huge chunk of those customers now without power, or now with power, I should say, but still nearly 40% of their customers without power. Sarasota, Manatee counties, we're not forgetting about you guys, 88,000 out in Manatee County. As for Sarasota County, those numbers are at 139,000. FPL trying to restore those for you as well. And as for Duke Energy in St. Pete in Pinellas County, 15,600 right now is what we're seeing. We'll continue to stay on top of those numbers for you guys. Hopefully power is restored soon.
Information is key right now and getting it quickly, because for a lot of people, their phones are dying, they don't have electricity, and they're trying to find places to eat and get gas.
Yeah,
so
and
we
they're
have
hungry.
that. Of course.
They're hungry.
They want something hot, not something out of a can, of course.
Exactly. And earlier in the newscast, we told you that Publix plans to open its stores tomorrow. Now we know that Trader Joe's is also planning to open their stores tomorrow. So that's exciting news. Winn-Dixie, on their last update, has no area stores opening up. So we'll have to watch that and see what ends up happening there. And Aldi has no declared date for opening. So we're going to have to watch that one as well. And we're going to want you also to use that hashtag #OpenNow. Let us know what you spot throughout your community that's still open that we can all take advantage of.
It's helpful. It really is. Bobby, throughout our coverage, you showed us some of the similarities between Hurricane Irma and then Hurricane Wilma. I didn't realize.
That's right.
Scary.
And Donna, too.
Oh, yeah.
Which is kind of weird. Yeah,
From,
let me
the
show you
60s
about
or 70s, right?
1960. Yep, 1960. So, okay, this is Irma, by the way. Started way out here, okay? Now, watch as I go into motion. You're going to see Irma coming. Here comes Wilma in 2005, and then there comes Donna in 1960. Donna, Wilma, Irma, and look where they end up. Right over top of Marco Island. In fact, Wilma and Irma had the exact same longitude and latitude for landfall. And they were both Cat 3, by the way, and that latitude longitude was right over Marco Island. Donna hit Naples on the same date, 57 years ago yesterday, September 10th, 1960, right up across the area. That's creepy. Isn't that pretty wild? So yeah, you know, they'll still think real estate prices will be high on Marco Island, but insurance might be a little bit higher than that. But that's just incredible. Yeah.
Mark that date on your calendar, Bobby.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's right. And you know what, guys? Real quick, September 10th, the statistical peak of hurricane season.
Right on time, baby.
Precisely
Right
on time. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh, this
Not
is
in a good way.
Yeah. Well, just so glad that it wasn't as bad as it could have been, at least for many communities. Not all communities, but for many communities.
And it's great to have the information, you know,
Yeah.
really being connected. Boy, those phones, it's just, you really can keep up with what's going on. Think about during Andrew and some of these other, Donna, you know, it was a radio with batteries and you just really tried to hope that you got all the information you needed. So that really helps.
And the forecasting is so incredible and so accurate down to the second now, so that really helps. We have some special coverage that we need to help you with.
Absolutely. So our special coverage of Hurricane Irma will continue on 10 News Brightside. They're going to keep you up to date with really the cleanup.
Yeah, so from 4:30 to 7 tomorrow, we have several crews. They're going to be live all over the Tampa Bay area, so don't be surprised if they're in your neighborhood.
Yeah, and our team's gonna, keep you up to date on power outages, where you can get a hot meal to eat, where you can, get gas for your car as well.
Yeah, so we have that hashtag we should remind people about.
Yeah, open now. So use that to remind people where you can get some food, right?
We're all helping each other.
Yeah.
Open now. Good night.
Have a good night.
You know what? Yeah, no, I guess Webb got it from earlier. Yeah. Oh, I got to go home and go to bed. Yeah. Thank you.
You know, I really appreciate you including me in that conversation. That was nice.
Yeah,
You were
there doing work.
You were doing work. You were helping.
No, I was great. I was working.
Those facts right there were
Yeah, you found Donna.
Yeah, all the other stuff.
Wilma.
You found Donna.
Donna.
Makes a difference, doesn't it? I mean, it helps.
Donna. Oh, those sailboats?
Yeah.
That's from the surge.
Yeah.
Bummer.
Yeah, the wind's not going to pick that up.